In this video, I'm going to find a random business and I'm going to show you how to audit their digital marketing strategy and then sell them Go High Level automation services. So the key thing here is we're going to set up simple automations for these businesses that don't require our time and our effort to actually make money, and they make a real impact for these businesses. So let's get into it. So I'm going to generate a list of random places here. I'll click it a few times and we will click on this one right here. And so what we're looking for, based on all my experience, I've done this over the past 8 years. That was when I actually got my first client. It was a free trial client. I ended up doing their website, doing their email marketing, posting on their social media. It ended up leading to me creating a video production company, which I still have. And then now, I'm here where I am today, which is I use GoHighLevel to provide these types of services to businesses. So what we're looking for here is we are looking for higher ticket service-based businesses, or businesses that get more customers from phone calls, okay? So we're not looking for franchise restaurants like a Wendy's or any big business. We're looking for small local businesses that make money from services and primarily rely on phone calls and their website and word of mouth to actually get more business. So I'm just going to scroll over here and look through these different areas, and I'm looking for any sort of like plumbing business, a roofing business. It could be any sort of real estate business or something like that. I don't want to go for restaurants because, in my opinion, the real way to solve problems for a restaurant is going to be for them to sell online, like DoorDash, or have them, allow people to order online. So we want to find something where the industry or the specific business isn't really a fit for like a fully online purchase. And we want to be able to install our digital solutions here. So I'm still looking here. I don't quite see anything that is sticking out. So I'm going to see if maybe there's some more shops over here by, these bigger. Okay, here we go. So Mark's Yardville Auto Body. So let's check this one out. So they only have 6 reviews, okay? They don't have a website, and they don't have their hours, and they don't have any photos, and the reviews are pretty minimal. So we genuinely don't even know if this business is still like operating, right? So let's just pretend that we reached out to this business. Before we go and actually create a whole bunch of stuff for them, what are we looking for? So most people look for these huge kind of unicorn opportunities, but if you're going to actually use Go High Level to, do what it's designed to do, which is to install these fundamental systems that every business needs, like a website, like reviews, like post customer purchase automation that, like, hey, you just bought something, leave a review, and then some sort of basic follow-up system. You need to understand that the types of businesses that really need this and really are available for that opportunity, they're just going to be these like kind of boring average businesses, okay? And so we're not looking for anything crazy or some unicorn client. We're just looking for these basic things that this business is missing. So let's pretend that we reached out to this business, right? The first thing that we would start with is something like optimizing their Google My Business page. That's just the first things first, okay? So that's not like a Go High Level service, but you can. I'm here inside of the Go High Level platform now. If you're new to High Level, you'll understand more as you actually watch this video. But we can actually use the Yext feature, which is where you can list the business on a bunch of different websites, and then that information about the company will populate there. So here inside of Go High Level, you can see under the reselling, we can actually resell Yext, which is basically, like I said, a service where once their information is fully updated, it's going to populate on a bunch of different websites. So if we go to yext.com, you can see their platform here, and you can check out their listings. And then you can see all of the different platforms that they're going to post that information. And so we have step 1. So I'm going to write this out with you guys, but I'm doing this live just off of all of my experience. So we have to reach out to this business before we start building out this whole system, but I'm not going to reach out to this person right there and try to find someone that's interested. So I want to show you guys what to look for and then how we can fulfill it using High Level. So the first thing is optimizing and setting up this Google My Business page. Okay, this doesn't take long, and this is easily something, if they're interested, that you can sell for $50, $100, and that's just the starting point. Okay, and you could even do it for free if you do some of these other things that I'm going to share with you. So number one is they need their Google My Business page set up, and you want to add a photo here, right? You want to make sure that this actually is accurate. You put in the correct hours, all that stuff. So that's the first thing that they need. It's super boring, but this is where the opportunity is. This person's not going to, wake up and just decide to do it, okay? So that's where you come in, is you see the opportunity and you start with that. So you got to get this up to date. Now, the second thing you could add on top of that is Yext. So the Yext is going to basically upload all of that information about this business on all those different publishing platforms. So those are just the baseline fundamentals. Hey, let's get your information updated and let's just get it out there if people do search. Okay, now the next thing, this business doesn't have a website. So what I would do is I would go to inside of GoHighLevel, and I would go into this. So this is my demo sub account. I would go to sites here, and I would go to websites. I would click on new website, and I would just browse one of their templates. Okay. So what I would type in here, since this is a auto body shop, we can type in auto and check out some of these templates. They just started adding these in, like these newer ones that look way better. Like these look way better. If you look at some of the old ones, now most of them are getting updated, so you guys can see it looks quite better. But if we look back like a while ago, they didn't look that good. So just to keep it simple, right, I'm going to go with something like this, okay? So we just went from, I don't have any idea, right, who to reach out to or what to say or what value to add, to now the baseline fundamental. You need to get this up to date, the information. So we update their Google My Business. The second thing is we want to list that on as many different platforms as we can using Yext, and Yext can all be done inside of GoHighLevel. Now, the next thing is they need a website. So just like this, we can choose one of these templates, click choose template, and within just a few seconds, we now have a website for this business, okay? So there's a few things I want to remind you of. If you've watched my channel before, I have a few key principles that I stand by, okay? But this is to give you guys the ideas and understanding of how to go out there and add value to these businesses. But what I was going to say is that the principle here, right, to actually doing this successfully and having a business that gives you leverage. So this is just a suggestion, but you're going to want to either pick a niche, because if we pick a niche and we identify these problems, then we can go to all these different auto body shops and install the same system, okay? Or we can have a general framework of the offers that we offer that are way easier to provide with different niches. So what I mean by that is if we are just getting started, right, and we don't know where to add value or why this even works, you're going to build their Google My Business page. You're going to set up their, information on Yext. You're going to set up their website. Then I'm going to go deeper and show you guys the automations and stuff I would create for a business like this. But you're going to do manual work, okay? That's what you're going to do when you're starting. Now, if you never niche down and this, set of services that I'm showing you becomes your offer, then guess what? If I go over here to this mechanical systems business and I do the same process, well, guess what? I have to make a whole new templated website, right? They have a different type of business. So the automations that I built before for the auto body company, that doesn't really work the same. Yes, you can change the content and stuff, but eventually you just end up going really, really wide and you're offering all these different services. So it's important to understand that I'm only showing you guys the baseline fundamental things that all these businesses need. And then as you get experience and as you get comfortable, I suggest either picking a niche so that you can go to another auto body shop, because I can literally just do auto body. Let's see, I'm going to finish this one, but just so you guys understand this point, where are we? We are in New Jersey, so I'll just do auto body New Jersey. And let's search over here closer to this. So I don't even know where the one that we just were at was, but basically we can install that system that we just built for the other company, and we can go to this one and say, look, they have the same problem potentially, right? This website needs to get updated, right? So I'm going to go through the entire scope of like from ground zero to, level 100, what you can offer. But like I said, it's important to understand that you want to actually create a system to deliver the value to the business owner so that every time you get a new client, you're not just doing a bunch of whole new work. Initially, you got to be willing to do what you can. And then as you start to get experience, you can say, you know what, I'm only going to offer Google reviews. And then it's very automated and very simple, and it works for any type of business. Then you don't need necessarily the same type of you can have a slightly different niche every time, but the fulfillment's virtually the same, right? Whereas if you get building into websites and all these different things, it's going to become very challenging for you to manage. But don't let that stop you when you're getting started, okay? So let's go back to this original business, if I can even find it. I don't even know what this one was called. Was it Mark's Auto Body, New Jersey? Something like that. So here we go. Okay. So we've got this business, right? And we've got this website template. This thing's already ready to go, okay? So we've got their Google My Business, right? Page set up. We've got their Yext set up. Now we've got a website template. So we can literally just preview this. And this guy doesn't have any website at all, okay? So now you're going to them and saying, look, I have this website template for you, right? You're gonna basically update it and make it, specific to what they do and their offer, but you already have something ready to go, okay? So we've solved those three things, okay, which is not having this look professional and up to date, not having that information published, right, which is what Yext will solve, and then they don't have an actual website at all. Okay. Now, I wish I had my phone right here on me, but I would call this number. And, there's a possibility that they do not answer. Okay. Now that enters into two different GoHighLevel solutions. Okay. So we have missed call text back, which I'll be showing you guys. And then we also have the AI inbound phone receptionist. Okay. So what this looks like is we have two different options. I'm going to assume you know nothing about HighLevel. That way you understand what we're actually doing. So the way that the missed call text back feature works is that we would replace this phone number, right? Or you can actually route this number. We don't need to get into the semantics of that. But basically somebody would call this number, right? And this business may miss a call, right? It's pretty common. Who answers this call, at 10 at night or maybe on the weekend or something, right? Or maybe he's not even getting calls because of those other problems that I told you, right? So maybe as we fix these problems that I told you guys about, he starts to actually get some more calls, right? So the reality is that about 60% of businesses will miss that call, and a small percentage of those customers will ever even call back. So they're just going to move on. So what the missed call text back does is it basically allows us to automatically send a text to the caller and say, hey, sorry I missed your call. How can I help? Something like that. Now, the way that I would do this, and I actually have an automation for this. So what I would do is use this automation that I have for the missed call text back. So let me show you guys how this actually works. So the standard missed call text back, which is good enough, will just text back a lead when they call the business and then the business misses the phone call. But I like to take it a step further to where when the business gets a call, right, and they miss the call, essentially is what these filters are, we're going to text this user, right? So, hey, this is Quinn. I'm in a meeting right now. If this is for an auto body shop, you can say, I'm actually working on a car right now, whatever. How can I help? And then what they're going to do is respond, right? And when they respond, we actually have this hooked up to an AI booking bot. And that AI booking bot will qualify them, answer any of the questions that they have, right? And then try to get them to book an appointment if they need their car fixed, right? And so now you can see the progression here as we've taken this business from they're just missing these basic things. I don't want to do that, to now we're getting into these more automated services that add a lot of value. Okay. So we first start, fixing the foundation, and then we move our way up and start patching in these other holes that they have in their business. So just in case you're totally new to HighLevel, I'm going to show you guys how this chatbot actually works. So this is a, let's see which type of business I have this for. I think I have this for a, let's see. So this is for a solar business. So just pretend that this was for an auto body business. But basically, they would call, right? And then the person's going to miss the call. They immediately get a text, hey, I'm working on a car right now. How can I help? And then they basically say something like, hey, I need my bumper fixed. Do you have any availability? And just to actually drive this home, I'm going to change this prompt. Really, this is not the type of prompt to use, but I'm doing this as a live training. You are an appointment booking assistant for an auto body shop. Book appointments. Okay. What you would really have here is some qualifying questions and stuff like that. But I just want to show you guys how this works. Okay. So imagine that someone calls the business and they don't answer. They get a text, hey, how can I help? I'm working on a car. And then they send this, hey, I need my bumper fixed. Do you have any availability? Now, the AI bot, I gave it a very, very basic prompt, but because I gave it a super direct prompt, it's not going to ask them all these questions and beat around the bush. It's just going to get them to book the appointment. So now this guy's working on the car, right? And within just a few seconds, I'm going to say, okay, let's do Thursday at 9 a.m. Within literally 60 seconds, there's now a booked appointment on this guy's calendar, okay? And like I said, you can prompt this to actually add in qualifying questions. What kind of car is it? What year was it? What's your budget? What color is it? All that stuff. But I just want to show you guys the point of the automation is to take this business owner who, doesn't have time to learn all this stuff or know how to do it to, keep doing what they're doing, but now solve these problems for them. But as you guys can see, I'm not the one responding. I'm not putting my manual time and effort to help this business owner. I'm using AI, okay? So that's how we would progress up the ladder. We already did these things, right? Now we have missed call text back, which I just showed you. And then we can also do the AI inbound phone receptionist. So this is going to be preference, right? Based on the actual business owner and what they're interested in and what they're comfortable with. Okay. So the missed call text back basically is that when someone calls the business, if the owner doesn't answer, it's going to do what I just showed you. What the AI phone receptionist can do is we can actually get it to answer all of the calls right away, or we could do it as an after hours bot, or we can do it as a fail safe if the business owner doesn't answer. So inside of the voice AI here, we can go to make an AI agent here. I'm not going to go through all the settings because I just want you to see the point. So we can basically do the same thing, right? You are booking appointments for an auto body shop. Book appointments. Okay, so I'm just telling it straight out what we want it to do. So I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to click new action, and I'm going to click book appointment. And then I'm just going to choose a calendar. I'm not going to go through all the settings. Just want you guys to see the idea here. Okay. So we have that one option, which is the missed call text back. Now, the other way we can do it here is we can make it to where it's a backup to his phone number. Okay. So if he doesn't like the missed call text back and he's like, I'm down to try that AI thing, then he's like, but I want to answer first. Then we would turn this on. That way people can call. And if he answers, cool, they talk to him. And if he doesn't answer, then it's going to go to the AI agent. Now, if they're like, you know what, I want it to answer like all the calls, then I would just you would turn this off and then you would set the hours. Okay. Now the other way we can do it is after hours. So if he's like, yeah, I want that AI to answer, but only after 5 o'clock, or maybe from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I'm usually working on cars or something like that, right? As you start talking to people, you're going to see all these different use cases, right? So then he says, you know what, I just want this from, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. because that's when I'm like after lunch and I got to, grind through these last cars so I can get it done for the day. So let's just put it for them. So then you basically plug this in, right? From 2 to 5, you plug in all the days you want. Maybe they want it Sunday. Then you save it right here. And then now GoHighLevel allows you to actually test this right here on the web. So I do have my mic. It's going to be hard to actually hear the audio from the computer. I'll try and move this here, but basically I'm going to pretend I'm calling the business, right? And then I'm going to see if I can book an appointment. So I'm going to click start web call.
Hey, you have reached Product Solar Snapshot. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I need my bumper fixed. Can I book an appointment right now?
Sure, let me check the available slots for you. One moment. Dion, here are the available slots. On Thursday, September 11th, 10 a.m., 11:30 a.m., and 1 p.m. On Friday, September 12th, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 12:30 p.m. Let me know which one works for you.
Let's do tomorrow.
All right. For tomorrow, September 11th, we have the following times available: 10 a.m., 11:30 a.m., and 1 p.m. Which one would you like?
10 a.m.
Got it. 10 a.m. tomorrow. I see we don't have your email on file. Could you provide it so we can send you the appointment confirmation?
All right, so you guys get the point. So one thing I would change is I would slow down the actual bot, which you can do right inside here. And then I would also have it, so you could slow it down right here on the normal response speed, and then you can actually slow down the voice. So I would do that. And then I would also change the number of slots that it gives you. Because as you can see, when it talks fast and stuff, if you give it too many slots, like I would only have it do 2 days. Because if it says, hey, we have these times Monday, then these times Tuesday, then these times Wednesday, it becomes kind of confusing. So you just got to customize it and slow it down. But the function is there, right? Now, if someone calls that business, they're going to be able to book an appointment right there on the spot, okay? So that ties into how we can do this missed call text back and the AI inbound phone receptionist, okay? So we've got the website, we've got that stuff in place. Now, the other things we want to do is kind of tie this website together with calendars and with forms, okay? And this is why essentially this is the whole purpose of why GoHighLevel was created for. It was originally created for, the small business owners. Like they were trying to market this to the auto body shops like this, but they realized these people don't know how to set this up. They don't know what they're doing, right? So then they pivoted to people like us where we can actually go in and implement it. And so our goal, right, to use HighLevel properly is to go in and piece together all these basic things that they need. So the next thing is like their forms and their calendar, right? So we're already getting kind of integrated into their business with what I just showed you. And then now adding in the calendar to their site and forms to their site gives us the ability to now have like almost like their database, right? So we can go to the sites here. I'm not going to go through, in detail how to plug in all these different things. I just want you guys to see how simple this is. So I'm going to go back to that website template that I created here. And if we click on edit here, you're going to see that we can basically add in. So we have schedule a consultation today, and then the system actually has a pop-up. And if we edit this pop-up here, we can actually choose a calendar. Okay, so you got to create a calendar, which I have training on. But now we've added a calendar, right, to this website so that if someone needs to book and they go to the site, they can just book right there. Okay, so we would add in something like that. And then down here at the bottom, or if we want to do a lead generation type page, we can simply add in a form right here. This isn't going to look best. Like I said, I'm more showing you the idea of how to add the value versus this is specifically what's going to look good, right? Because that doesn't look good. But we can now add in a form, right, to the site so that people can fill that out, information about their car. Or what I would do is make this more engaging and make this more interesting to the actual user. And I would do some form of a quiz, auto body shop quiz. They can tell us what's going on with their car, and then that'll give us way more information than just a form, and it makes it seem less intrusive than just give us your information, right? So we can tie those things into the site, and then we can also plug in this other hole. So once people start going to this site, then guess what? People can book an appointment, people can fill out a form, people will call, right? So we'll put a number to call right here, and it'll call that number for the missed call text back and the AI inbound receptionist. And then the next thing is we want to plug in some sort of AI chat widget here. So if we go over here to the conversation AI, I think I already have one in here because I switched around between a few different, sub accounts here is what they're called. And so now you can see that I have this demo here. This is for a different type of business, but all I have to do is click on sites, make sure that I have a chat widget, which I do. And then I go back to that website, and then we click on muffler shop, click on settings. And then now let's see if that loads. There we go. Chat widget 2. And so now if we go to this website, you're going to see we now have a chat widget because some people aren't going to read through the entire website and they just want to ask a question. So I can say, hey, can I book an appointment? Or maybe they just have a question. Now, this particular chat widget is not configured for the auto body shop. So I think it's for a carpet cleaning business. So you can see here, it's starting to qualify the lead, right? But you could change this out with simple text. I have a bunch of prompts for this, so you can just literally swap it out. But you guys can start to see the picture here. We've got the Google My Business page. We've got Yext. We've got website. We've got the missed call text back, AI inbound phone receptionist. And then we got the forms, surveys, and calendars. And then now we also have the website chat widget. Okay. Now here are some other opportunities for this business. Okay. So this business, right, or if not this one, they have other past customers, right? And so we don't know. Maybe this guy has had a bunch of customers and it's all just word of mouth. And so he doesn't really have any reviews. It doesn't really look like, there's a bunch of, business that this guy is actually doing. So we don't know that though for sure. So another opportunity is we can do some sort of database reactivation, okay? Database reactivation. So what that looks like is we can get a list of this business's past customers, and we can go in here, right? I'm going to go to this other account here. All right, so I'm in this other account. So what database reactivation would be is we would take that list of past customers, so people that already gave this guy money, and send them out a message either for a new promotion or just to check in and see how they're doing to make sure that they didn't forget about this business. Like I said, super simple, super basic stuff that everyone pretty much knows, but no one does because it's boring and people think that, well, that's not going to really do anything. That's not a new unicorn strategy, right? So what we can do is inside a high level, go to automation. We can click on create workflow, select from template, and we can just type in database reactivation, or I think it's under list reactivation. So there it is, and we can preview this. And now you can see we've got a tag so that when we tag that lead, we just change the content. So instead of a free whitening offer, we just do, a discount, or maybe, like I said, once we understand what services that he provides, we can have an introductory offer. Like I said, just check to see if they're interested or they remember our business and, see how they're doing. And maybe they're like, oh, I'm good. Thanks for checking in. And maybe in 3 months, something happens and they need, and they remember, right? That's how business actually works. It's not just linear. You send something, people buy, and then that's it, right? Stuff takes time. People forget, people do other stuff. And then just a simple reminder can literally bring in customers. So we can do something like this, or something even more simple than this. But now we've reactivated that list and we've brought in and integrated more of this business into our system, right? Into our ecosystem. And so we've got the database reactivation, and that could potentially get in some new customers, okay? Now, here's the other thing we can do here, okay? So we can do Google reviews, and then we can do my new kind of favorite thing that I've been figuring out, which I'll cover in just a second, okay? So with Google reviews, this person obviously doesn't have many reviews, okay? And there's like other businesses here that they don't really even have that many reviews, but it's way more than this person, right? And so like I said, if you're going to stick with auto body shops and niche this type of system down, well, look at all these other businesses you can reach out to right here, okay? So the Google reviews flow. So you can do the Google review a few different ways. One way is we take that past list, right? And, you can discuss that with them. Hey, you know what? Instead of maybe trying to get new customers, let's see if we can get them to bring in, leave a review, because that'll be worth more, right? And you can literally just go right here, click on send review request, and then it's going to text that lead or that past customer, and it'll email them, depending on how you have it set up, to leave a review. And now if you had 100 past customers, let's say 10, 20% leave a review, you just got them, 20 reviews right there in less than a week, right? So that's the Google review flow, right? Where you're just sending this out one time on past leads. You can do some automation too, where you're actually following up. Did they leave a review? You send a few reminders, but that's the core value, is we're getting people to leave a review. Now, the other cool stuff we can do with the reviews, which is more ongoing and it's like a sticky service that people are going to keep paying for, is we can set up a QR code here inside of GoHighLevel. So the way that this actually works is we can go right here to this reviews QR, and we can click on new. And, you can do this when they become a paying customer of yours. You can, ship them over an actual physical thing for a few bucks that they put on in their shop so people can scan it. Or, when they're starting out, you can just have them print it out and then, put it on something so it's at least visible. So that's one way to pick up more reviews when people go by the shop. But the other thing we can do is, this is where the ecosystem becomes important. So if we get, his appointments for his auto body shop on our calendar, then guess what? We make the calendar, right? And then inside of our automations, what we can do is we can have it to where after an appointment, so I think this is an actual template here. So let's see if it is. If not, I already have one. But basically, let's see if this one has it. So let's see, wait 1 hour after. Yeah, okay. So the way this works, this looks super advanced, right? But this is just a combination of different automations. So when someone books an appointment, we're just sending them confirmation email and a confirmation text, right? If you scroll down, that just happens a few different times. But then guess what? 1 hour after the appointment, right? Or you can set it up custom, because I know with an auto body shop, it's not like you just show up and then, 1 hour later the car's done. So you could do a few different ways. But basically, once they get their car, right? Once they get their car back, guess what? We'll text them over a review. and basically get them to leave that review right there. And you just set that up once, and then guess what? That business is going to continue to need it. They don't need to call you. They don't need to, it's super simple. You have that there. People can scan it when they're there. But then on top of that, when people actually pick up their car, they're going to be able to automatically get that text and leave a review, and maybe give them a little incentive. If they leave a review, they get, 5% off or 10% off their next, their next service, or whatever the services that, he offers. It would have to actually make sense, right? So now we've tied them into that, and all this stuff, like I said, initially takes some work. I already have like a snapshot for this and a system, so it's not like you have to rebuild all of this. Once you create it for a niche, then you just install it and then tweak a few things, and then it's pretty much ready to go. But you can literally manage all of this, right? These are pretty much one-off setups, so they're pretty much done. The website, once, if you use a template and you set expectations correctly for all of these things, you can tell the customer, look, like, this isn't a service where you're calling me and I'm changing your site and I'm redesigning stuff. This is a system, right? And you're paying for the system. You're paying for it to deliver the results that, I just demonstrated. And so a lot of this is expectation setting as well. If you set those expectations that, look, you're basically buying a product that keeps producing value over time. I can't go in and I'm not going to be changing all this stuff up. Sure, little tweaks here and there, but, I'm not going to be in there, designing strategies and coming up with revolutionary things for your business. These are the things I can help you with. Then they're not going to be bugging you and, trying to get all this stuff. But when you start setting expectations and you like, I'm going to do everything for you, they start seeing you like a worker. Okay. You need to just understand the scope of these problems, like I shared. And then from there, you're the owner of the system. And so you just present them all these different gaps they have. And then as they see these different gaps, you plug it in, and the software and the automation does the work for you. Okay. So that's how to go up the ladder with this other stuff that I just shared with you. There are even some other services or things you can stack on here as well. Like I said, there's really no limit with high level. Now it's just, you have to be mindful of what you get into, because that's going to be your business, right? I like to leverage things that are automated and systemized, so I'm not in there doing work. That's my whole thing. That's what my whole channel is about. So these are things that fit that. And a lot of it, like I said, comes down to expectations. But you can even build automations that send out an email once a month, and you never even have to write it using AI. You can just create a simple prompt. It'll loop around into the AI, and then it'll send out an email. And so you could do that on a once a week automation. You write the prompt once and it just runs. So there's all these different awesome ways that you can add value to a business owner. And so I wanted to show you guys, in real time what you can do, because there's no excuses. You can literally go to any one of these businesses and look for the same basic things that I just showed you. And some of them, yeah, they're going to have this stuff already figured out, but guess what? This isn't even, like clickable. Like what even is this website? This guy needs a new website. This guy needs the whole thing that I just showed you. So there's two people right there. Okay. So hopefully it was valuable. If you want to check out High Level, partner with me. It's completely free with your trial. Check it out. I'm teaching people how you guys can do this and, get results. So I'll see you guys in the next video and talk to you then. Bye-bye.